more than we were kind of separated. And so I think that speaks to our chemistry, speaks to everyone just really being locked in at the start of the season.
Looking ahead to the Chicago matchup, what do you think is the biggest point of emphasis heading in, especially after going on the road for the first time, I should say, sorry?
Yes, that they're a really physical team. They're a really physical team. They use their physicality to kind of mask some of the other ways that they may not be there yet. And I think that if we go in there and we think it's just going to be like a cakewalk and it's just going to be an easy game, then you look up and you're down 20 points and you're wondering why. So we just have to be ready for that level of physicality. We have to be ready and understand that, like, we got to hit first. We can't just wait for them to kind of indicate or show us like what the level of physicality is going to be for that game. We have to kind of set the tone and set the standard.
How did you guys feel about on the defensive end? Something Sandy talked about in the preseason was pick and roll defense, making sure that's the line. How did you feel that went?
I think preseason exposed us, and we were able to get some really good film and some really good clips of us not being where we're supposed to be. And sometimes as a post player, you feel like you're in a good position. And I know for me, like in those preseason games, guarding Tina, like I was so worried about my matchup that I wasn't really helping everybody else, and I was kind of creating offense. And so I think those games are really good for us, and to see those clips, and I think it was an emphasis, and you can see the difference.
How impressed? I was just gonna say, how impressed were you with Leo? Gets here on Thursday, has one practice, she's jet lagged, and she has one of the defensive assignments for her is Chelsea Gray. Like she got her. You know what I mean? Like how impressed are you just with how she's able to do that?
Honestly and truly, I think all the things that I've seen from Leo last year, it's kind of like the expectation now, and it's the standard for her. So it is very impressive. I will say that, but I also feel like with Leo, we understand what the standard is, and we hold it to that standard, and she delivers every time. And so I think it's amazing. But we were joking in the locker room before the game, and I was just like, "Oh, first preseason game, go guard Tina Charles, great." Then I'm like, "Okay, first game of the season, go guard Asia Wilson, great." And she was laughing. She was like, "Well, Chelsea Gray isn't any different." So we were just laughing. We were just laughing in the locker room about it and just kind of like making light of it, And then obviously we locked in for the game.
JJ, going back to your speech, when it came to the writing process, take us inside what that was like. Were you someone who outlined what you wanted to say? How did you go about writing?
Yeah, I mean, I just, obviously I had a speechwriter that helped me with my process, but had conversations with her, and I just kind of talked to her about my journey. I was just very adamant that I didn't want it to feel like the story of me like coming from the Bahamas that we've heard 1,000 times. Like, don't get me wrong, I love my story, it's my truth, but at this point, we've all heard it. And so I wanted it to be fresh, I wanted it to be something that was easily digested and like they can take away and just remember those words and not have it be something where I just felt like I was like talking down to these youngsters that haven't really gone out into the world yet. Just wanted to be very relatable, very genuine. I think it came across that way.
When you think about the evolution of the big in the W, is there anything you've noticed? Did you watch other games this weekend, and have you just noticed more teams kind of playing stretch, 5 out, playing 4 out, 1 in?
I ain't gonna lie to you, I ain't watched no games. I've been so busy, I've been all over the place. But I think just being in the league, you see it. Like, you just have so much more versatility. There was a point, like when I first came into the league, where it was really rare. Like I was one of the rare bigs that was like stretching the floor and bringing the ball down the court, and now you see it, and I think that's just the evolution of the game, and people just watching more basketball and seeing it. And like I said before, it started with like the Dirk Nowitzkis and players like Kevin Durant, and it translated to players like me, and then we see it more as the game is growing.
Can you empathize for Angel Reese and just kind of like what she's dealing with, the trolling online and fans, what they say to her at games that goes beyond just the normal, fans are going to say stuff, but it goes beyond the normal, like, fan chirping?
Yeah, I emphasize to anybody that's in a situation where you can't just be an athlete, you can't just do your job, and, we go out there, we're competitors, we compete at a high level, and at the end of the day, we're just human beings, and so it's just a really tough thing to deal with, and I think it goes outside of basketball players, too. Like, anytime you see anything that's, like, outrageous online, your heart goes out to those people, because at the end of the day, it can take a mental toll on us as human beings, and we all deserve some empathy, we all deserve love, we all deserve to feel safe in our workspaces.
Can you just talk about how much of an emphasis it seems like being physical off the ball with Asia cutting through the paint, you know, their guards, how much of an emphasis, if at all, you know, that was for your defense?
Yeah, we actually watched it on film this morning, so that's a great question. We watched it on film this morning about just how effective it is defensively when we play that way. And honestly, I think it's probably one of the biggest changes, or like the biggest jump that you see when you go from regular season basketball and playoff basketball. And so when we can kind of recreate that now, it just kind of sets us up for a really successful postseason. It kind of allows our play to translate very well when we do get in, you know, later into the year when it's going to be really, really important.
Do you see some similarities between what Chicago runs and what Las Vegas runs, just knowing that Tyler grew a lot of his influences from Becky? Does that help in terms of a scouting perspective?
Yeah.
Have you guys talked about that?
I think player personnel is probably just a little bit more, it's different. So our ways to kind of exploit that and be strategic defensively is going to change. So obviously any coach that comes from a system, they're going to bring some things over from that system that they're used to, but I think it goes back more to player personnel than anything else. Yeah.
I don't know what your relationship was with Courtney Vandersloot when she was here, but
I love
to see her again, and you guys like talking, chirping or anything, or what's?
No, I haven't had a chance to really talk to her, but I'm really excited to see her, give her a big hug. Me, her, and Ali also played overseas in Russia, so it's great to see that they have started their family in that way and had a baby, and so I'm just really excited for them. I was actually just thinking about it super randomly in practice, oh man, I gotta get them a little gift or something when I go, so that I can just just say congratulations.
That was UMMC, right?
Yes, UMMC. All right, peace.
All right. Thank you, JJ.